In 4 years from now, India is set to see a new emission regulation in the form of BS6. To tell us more about the role of thermal systems in meeting the stringent emission norms, we have with us Mr. Karl Wagner, Vice President Global Sales and Engineering of BorgWarner. Karl, thanks for talking to Autocar Professional. The role of thermal systems in helping vehicles meet the stringent Euro 6 or BS6 in India's case. Could you throw some light on that?
Okay. Well, first of all, we are very excited about that decision to move forward to Euro 6. I mean, we had a couple of years of discussion about the next steps, and I think that's the right step in the right direction, and we are very excited to be part of that development in India, and our role is really to be a partner for the OEMs in India, as we are partner to our OEMs globally, to help them meet those emissions legislation and exceed the customer requirements.
But the timeline, in just about 4 years, the validation cycles and all, challenging, is that so?
Yeah, the industry is challenging. I think the timeline is feasible. It's going to be challenging, so the key to success will be a very clear decision by the government and the parties involved to make clear decisions about the timeline and what the implementation rules are. And on the other side, it will be key to success to start working very closely with our OEMs as soon as possible to investigate the best system solution for meeting Euro 6 requirements.
And according to you, what is the best way to implement the new regulation norms? Because there seems to be some ambiguity, whether it will be applicable to vehicles produced new models from 2020, or whether it will be applicable for vehicles which are existing produced from 2020 onwards. Do you see an ambiguity? If yes, what is the best way to implement the new norms?
Well, I think the most important thing is there's a decision and a clear statement by the government to introduce Euro 6. And as we have heard here at the motor show, talking to a lot of customers, that there are still discussions ongoing about how the implementation is going to be structured. I think the most important thing is that there's a clear rule of how to migrate completely to Euro 6 and eliminate as much as possible any exceptions or deviations from Euro 6. Obviously there might be a time of overlap, that makes total sense, but at the end of the day there has to be a step 100% into Euro 6.
And in terms of the role of thermal systems, how crucial a role will it play in meeting the new emission norms?
Well, we are playing a crucial role because it's all about thermal management and also a little bit electrification, but in specifically thermal management. And I mean, we have Euro 6 in other regions of the world already, so we have a product portfolio lined up that will help our OEMs to be successful. And the steps that we're going to see here is introducing electronically controlled fan drives and also electronically controlled fully variable water pumps. Those are the products that we are launching globally right now. And this year specifically we are launching an electronically controlled viscous fan drive for the Indian market. So it's pretty nice to see that we're actually ahead of time. So we are very confident that we're going to be meeting the requirements on time for Euro 6 as well.
And do you plan to introduce the water pump also, electronic water pump also in the Indian market? Or?
I'm pretty confident. I mean, it depends a little bit on the segment that you're looking at. Today in Europe, for example, the CV segment already uses variable coolant pumps. There's a huge benefit independent from the emissions requirement for the end consumer. There's a fuel efficiency benefit of up to 1.5% for a commercial vehicle, which is a huge gain. Therefore, I'm very confident that that product will also migrate into India pretty soon.
Okay. And in terms of the role of India as a market for BorgWarner, could you throw some light on where does it stand currently, and going forward, what kind of role do you see India play, not only as a market but maybe also as a production or development hub?
Well, first of all, I think the role of India as a strategic market has not changed over the last couple of years. We have been very early identifying the potential of the Indian market, reason why we have been localizing manufacturing and application engineering in India very early, not just for thermal but for BorgWarner in general, and that has not changed. I think the change is really the speed of the technology migration that we now see, which is pretty exciting for us. So we're going to follow our manufacturing strategy worldwide and localize products in line with the requirements in the market. And therefore, obviously, if the level of emissions legislation is more comparable to other regions in the world, there is also potential for exporting vehicles and therefore also components into other regions.
And what's the scope do you see, given that the government is actively promoting hybridization and electrification of vehicles in India? Do you see that as a good scope? And if yes, from a perspective of a global supplier, how do you plan to tap that?
Well, it's a very exciting area for our product development right now. Hybridization and electric vehicles for thermal as well as for BorgWarner. Specifically in thermal, we have products that are designed for that type of vehicle moving forward. So we have what we call the dual mode Vistronic, which combines an electric motor and a Vistronic for the airflow side of the vehicle thermal management. And also we have a dual mode coolant pump for the CV segment, but also for the passenger car segment, which allows the usage of that component for hybrid vehicles and electric vehicles.
Thank you very much, Karl. Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching.